Welcome to Community Cuts. Thank you for coming on to our platform. Thank you. We know that it's well in New York and parts of the world.
Thank you.
So this, I will be, the reason why I asked you to come here, you have a, you are CEO of Healing Hearts.
It's Healing Hearts.
Okay.
All right.
So,
I go by, thank you.
so your CEO, is that for women or is it for?
Actually, it's a chaplaincy, a non-denomination. We cover all faiths and religions. And it's for both men and women. We are international, citywide, and also international, citywide, and just in different countries.
The reason why I bring that up, there was a incident with P. Diddy and his girlfriend Cassie, and I'm sure she's the one who's going to be here with the hearts. What would you tell Cassie if you were to meet her in person?
Well, one of the first things that you must do when you're dealing with chaplaincy is to try to get to understand who you're dealing with. A little bit of their background, a little bit of where they come from. Unfortunately, a lot of people, whether they're in the celebrity realm or just here, it has a lot to do with their foundation, their structure. One of the things that I would do, I would be more of a listener and to find out really what her needs and things that I can talk to her about in terms of the healing. It's just for example, when people, go through losing a loved one, they go through a grieving process, right? So a lot of times, once after death happens and it occurs, then people go into depression, then they start thinking about the individual. And that's one of the things that Healing Hearts provides. We have a grievance committee that goes out, speaks to the people, and so forth. But I can tell you this, in the entertainment business, there is a particular need for the spiritual realm. A lot of times, when you look back at some of the entertainers, singers, actors, and you go back and you check the cause of death, how they died, it makes you begin to think. I mean, I don't want to throw out any names here, but what I'm saying is that a lot of, and then just knowing people in the entertainment business myself, they've shared a lot of things. Whereas a lot of them, they do not worship. It's a whole different world out there. But they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it. It's never talk about it. So, in terms of this young lady, my first thing is to kind of have a conversation with her. See what's going on there. There might be a couple of things. In most cases, it really is.
There's a lot of women that are going through, different issues today. The whole paradigm has shifted in the world. And one thing that I got a download from that the Most High was talking to me in my heart, and he said, you can't be a victim and pray at the same time. You have to make a choice. So my choice is not to walk in victimhood, but to walk as a leader. So therefore, I would try to at least let the person know that yes, you have to break your own scenery. You have to create your own paradigm.
But then at the same time, you gotta make sure people know that they can do this. And again, they do have a legislature. You know, a lot of people just listen to the fact that they just don't know.
Right.
And this is where we as religious leaders come into place.
Right.
We are supposed to be teaching the people. A lot of religious leaders do not teach.
Before you go there, like that, tell the audience around the world what you do. And I know that you are part of the UA.
Yes.
Right. So tell us.
Okay, so I wear several different hats, several different hats, but in the religious realm, I am a chief apostle, which governs 23 countries. My authentication is in Ghana. That's where my main headquarters is. And I cover all of West Africa, which is 23 countries. So that allows me to go into these here countries and to help build, okay, to help teach. I'm a former international governor for the National Association of Business and Professional Women. There's only one. So my responsibilities was to go in and visit different countries, help them, send them different resources like clothing, food, and so forth. And we've been doing that on an ongoing basis.
I just wanted to connect this to you because many people may not know that it's all under the umbrella of the United States. You have that purview from them. They have to give you that permission, correct?
Oh, yes, yes. One of the authentic processes that your paperwork is sent to one agency. It takes anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. They actually venture you, they check out some say who you are, and then they come back and send the documents back. Okay? You get a serial number, you get the documents, and all of them are, real. Right.
I like for some of our people that's here to chime in and ask questions if you have questions to ask. Simone from Brooklyn, thank you for coming on to Community with us. It's a pleasure to have you here. You have a question? Okay, that's fine. Jenny?
Yeah.
Oh, this is my person who I grew up with.
I know very well.
He called himself K-Mel back in the day, when 5th grade, 6th grade, something like that. Yeah.
Thank you for having me here.
It's my pleasure for you to be here.
Thank you for also having your guest speaker, Ms. Dr. Kim Best, who I know her as a friend of mine, very long time, good person. I've had several dealings with her on a community level over the years, and she's very resourceful, very smart, and definitely a person to go to when you have some type of needs or situation that's community related. You can rely on her. I know that because she's done some things for me with my organization. I went to her several times for some support with precinct issues, venue issues, licenses, and she always showed up.
So you asked me, that was just one aspect. I'm also a precinct council president
79%. Yes.
for about 36 years.
Wow.
Long time.
By the way, I see all the accolades, so a lot of the accolades that you have presented to you,
Yes.
and they're numerous.
Yes. Well, I have over 600 awards. Okay, probably 605 now. Over 600 awards, but You gotta know where the Lord is sending you,
Right.
right? I'm also chairman for the advisory board for Brooklyn Hospital.
It's a big one.
Yes, because basically I work with the CEO and the vice president. Most people may know him, Lenny Singletary.
Yes.
Yes, we work very closely together and improving the quality of life at the hospital. In fact, about I think a year ago or 2 years ago, we just opened up a new emergency, brand new, it's beautiful. If you haven't been there, you need to go there and check it out. Very, very nice. We went from a grade, I think, F to almost a grade A in terms of the hospitals. You know, going to Brooklyn Hospital, people, years ago didn't go.
Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, he was born in that hospital.
Yes, he was born in a hospital. I think Letitia James had a family member. She had, some dealings with the hospital, and quite a few. So I've gotten those calls, like when someone is in the hospital, Dr. Best, can you check on this patient, such and such and such. And not just from the elected official, but people in general. Okay, we don't want to make a stigma and say, okay, because the elected official, they have to get a certain quality of care. You and anybody else going into the hospital should be entitled to top care. And then I have another organization called Power Women and Community Building. And what that organization does is that it's with a group of very powerful women who help build communities, right? And I'm just naming just a few things because as a former employee of sanitation, I was really involved with a $30 million budget each and every year. So I was assigned to anywhere from 100 to 200 contracts that I had to follow up.
Interesting.
Okay, it was because of COVID. Is the real reason why I'm
Watching you do it.
Okay. I also have my own consulting company. Okay, best consulting and strategy, because as a employee of sanitation, I was an analyst. I also was a national underwriter, also a court guardian. So I wear different roles depending on the situation. Do I share this with everybody? No. Most times people don't know really who I am until a situation comes around. And I don't need to prove to anybody who I am. But like this gentleman said, if someone comes to me with a situation, and if I can help, I'm right there. I deal with a lot of the fully incarcerated. I'm dealing with one guy right now, trying to get him into the job, getting resources. Okay. We was just talking just yesterday about doing a men's ministry. A men's ministry, whereas they would go out and talk to other men about health, about employment, about resources, because that is needed. It is a known fact that men don't go to the doctor like women do.
Right. It's true.
For whatever reason. So we're putting together a men's ministry. Pastor Sean McCullough, he's here with me today, and he's going to be part of that. And we're opening up to so many men so that we can hit the ground. We also have chaplains in Trinidad, Jamaica. We have a big chaplain over in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, he's on fire. He is on fire. I said it. He's bringing so many people to us. People say, well, how do you get all these people? It's being truthful and real. Okay? There's so much scam going on here. There's so much spiritual leaders.
I want to ask you a question, if I could chime in.
Sure.
Our youth, are they awakened? Are they being awakened at this point in this paradigm now that we're able to shift it?
Well, you have to look at it in different capacities,
Okay.
right? you know, you have youth that belong to the gang,
Right,
right?
it's true.
You know, I've dealt with the gang members over
Right.
the years, and you have a pretty much understanding, because I had to get into the mindset of how they thought and how they think. Then you have, young adults that come from dysfunctional families, whereas the mother, she's raising this young man, she has to work, she has no money, he's trying to survive. And then you have those that want to go to college, but they don't have the money. So they're looking for people to give them resources. And I always tell people, not everybody is built for college. There's certain,
It's true.
you know, things where they could become a trade person.
Right.
We want to be able to provide this to individuals, young individuals. Okay? The last thing I want to say is that when the streets get to a lot of these young people, sometimes it's too late. And sometimes the only person that they can really relate to is someone that is willing to listen and help them. Now, I have a sister that my parents adopted, very much street. But when she needs to come to me and talk to me, she'll come. Okay? Again, we deal with all walks of life. You know, gay and lesbian. I was there at one PK the other day. It was a wonderful ceremony. We don't get caught up into none of that.
I'm just watching the youth today. It seems like they're being awakened to
Someone.
yeah, someone, not everybody at the same time. Some are still slumbering, but I see our people are now so wise. And
But you know what happens? It takes a village,
it's a village, correct?
right?
It takes a
A
village.
person like yourself, a person like Mel, a person like Miss Simone, okay? We must continue to be in the vineyards. You see, as a person in the ministry, I barely wear my collar. I barely wear my collar because God has sent me in the vineyards to help those people, no matter where they come from. So we as a village, even the churches are not having the number of people in them anymore.
Right.
There was churches that would have 5,000 people. When you go there on a Sunday now, you might only see 20.
Let's go to CCC, so I understand.
You understand what I'm saying? You see a decrease in the mechanism of what's going on. The church is in the streets now. The church is outreach. And this is really what my calling is, outreach ministries. It's always been. That's where community comes in. That's where dealing with people, children, senior citizens, different nationalities, all come into outreach because we're going to outreach. I did what I'm actually the ambassador for African Heritage for Bed-Stuy. All right, so I cover all the African countries. Okay, they gave me that title, and they are waiting to get me a seat, permanent seat in the UN as the international diplomat of humanities. Okay, that's going to be coming through. So once that hits, I will be going to Ghana to be crowned Queen of Ashanti. Yes.
Ashanti, I like that.
Yes. And they're gonna make a very big celebration day for me over there. So they're planning that already. Last year, October, I was crowned Queen Mother of Nigeria, in Caldor, in Nigeria. I think that's the name of it. And they had the celebration on a yacht. So I'm already Queen Mother here already with Nigeria, but I will be Queen Mother in Ghana under Ashanti. But, you know, whenever they tell me they're ready for me, that's what's going to happen. So I'm very much into the international realm. We also have a WhatsApp with a lot of international countries. I know right now Haiti is going through a big transition. I've been in contact with the president-elect of Haiti, and they're killing. The killings over there is
I
enormous.
know.
The killings and the kidnapping. So I'm in the trenches with them with that as well. So when you're talking about involvement, not just here in the community, on an international basis, on a national basis, we're very much involved. Most of our chaplains are scattered all over the place. We have them here, we have them in different countries, different states, and they reach out to me. That's why most of the time I don't sleep that well. I may only get like 3 to 4 hours sleep. But I'm here. That is what God has sent me for in terms of my work. I hope I was able to explain to y'all just a little overview of who I am.
I'd like to introduce you to the owner of the shop. Excuse me for a second. Thank you.
Hi,
This is the owner of, your name. And,
My name-
and the owner, and your name of the shop.
my name is Winston Lee. The name of the shop is Salon Lee, and I've been in business for 19 years.
That's good. That's good. That's great.
I tell you this, she blessed me actually. My mother used to come here before she passed away, and she took good care of my mother. I always check out the energy of a place, and I'm just like that. So when I got here, my mother's here, I felt the energy, this soaring, high in energy, and very respectful. And I would like for community cuts. We're at 732 Washington Avenue. This is
Between Prospect Place and Park Place.
come here, visit her. She's awesome. The energy is awesome. It's off the chain. You're not going to find energy like this again. It's here.
And I can give the phone number. The phone number
Please.
is 718-230-4100, or my cell, which is 347-228-8630.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
Nice
you.
meeting everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so, Kenny, you want to say something?
Yeah, pretty much. With respect to everything that Dr. Kim Best was sharing with us, I just want to say we're blessed, we're honored to take on so many responsibilities. Yes, and be able to make a difference in people's lives. I hear it. I'm not sure if you know that I've been doing a lot of ambassador work, community work, for about 25 years now, working with all different types of demographic populations, ex-offenders coming home, helping them transition life choices, getting back into society, getting jobs, getting involved in academic programs to better your life. I've worked with senior citizens for about 15 years, providing services for seniors for nursing home and admission into the nursing homes, networking with Medicaid downtown, HRA, helping people that's struggling with benefits, how to obtain Medicaid and Social Security, and a whole list of so many things, HIV/AIDS, empowerment, education. I was once coordinating a program under Fortune Society. I'm not sure if you ever heard of Fortune Society
I
before.
know there was a program that you was working with seniors.
That was CNR Healthcare Network, Center for Nursing Rehabilitation. Fortune Society is a great program. It's an excellent program that provides multiple services for people coming back out of prison, coming back into society, not turning back to things that got them there.
Right.
There's resources and opportunity So, you need information,
Oh, absolutely.
I can,
I get people that's always looking for resources. In fact, actually, a few of the chaplains have been, was formerly incarcerated, and they went and they was able to open up their own businesses, and they offered the resources to us. And, sometimes you can identify with other people because you've been there.
Right.
You understand? And we have some really good guys, real good guys. And every person that I've sent to them, they helped. We was able to get that person back on the level. But again, you're part of the village,
yeah, no question about
right?
it,
You're part of the village.
yeah. No
See,
question.
and we need more people like you to be part of the village.
Well, I believe personally, I'm motivated by the concept of ethics.
Mhm.
I think ethics need to be involved into every aspect of human services. And a lot of times, people don't understand that this is our community, like you said, it's a village. And a lot of people lose sight of what other people's needs are. Why? Because people are into their own self. And not only that, but a lot of people don't really know where to begin to even, offer some type of services. People struggling. It's a struggle.
And you know what? You'd be surprised that
It's a struggle.
a lot of people have pride. A lot of people don't want you to know what they're struggling with. And that's why most of my counseling services or anything that I do is very private. You know what I mean? Because you speak to these people and you actually get to know really what's going on. This is like a classroom. You teach a lesson, you assume that all your students understand, you give an exam, everybody fails. And then you say to yourself, where did I go wrong? So a lot of times, what I found in my profession is that speaking to people privately, and I've spoke to some pretty good high-ranking people privately, right? In terms of helping them, giving them the spiritual needs that they have. I don't have to be that preacher or pastor that gotta be there and everybody has to see what I'm doing. I'm more the one that works behind the scenes but get the job done. Because that's what it's all about. Really, that's all what it's all about with me. So that's why people kind of know my legacy, they know where I come from, they know that I'm a straight shooter. You don't know nothing else about me, you know that I'm a straight shooter. And what I help the gangbangers, what I help the people that's addicts on the street, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to help that individual if they want the help. So a lot of them are in denial because they don't know. It's about education.
One of the things that I do after I've learned about it is that I always ask people to tap into the God that's within them. A lot of people, I've grown up looking for God outside of me. But when I understood that God is within, that's the God that I tap. It's like the matrix, So the God that's within is the most strongest God that can alleviate a lot of issues. And as long as you're willing to be, what's the word? Principles coming to my mind right now. But as long as you're willing to tune in and not tune out, you can hear God in you. And once you hear God in you, you can tap in, and God will give you these answers that one needs.
Oh yeah, he shows up.
He shows up.
He shows up.
Right.
He will show up.
Right.
And sometimes you'll be put in a situation you're trying to figure out why. How did I get into this situation?
I'm gonna tell you this. This is a true story. This is a true story. It happened a while back. So 4 o'clock in the morning, I do my rituals, my prayers early in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. So one morning I went to do my rituals and I heard the spirit within me come in to me and says, no trepidation, right? At the time, I did not know I didn't know the meaning of trepidation at the time, right? So a few hours after that, I went to church And pastor, not my particular pastor, but an elder, whatever he was, his name is Battles, I'll never forget that name. He said, God said he doesn't want anybody having trepidation. I said, all right, I know what that means. No fear. So that particular morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I went to church at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I heard from God was saying no trepidation. And I didn't know what, looked it up, and the meaning was no fear. And so we can tap into the God that's within. Some people may say source, some people may say Elohim, whatever, but it's the God that's within that you tap into, and that you're here, and that you actually the God. So God had asked me to start this, and I did. So Community Cuts is on his table. It's not on my table. It's on his table.
And I'm going to say this also too. I'm going to say this to you. A lot of times people, God will bring people in your life for a short time and a long time.
Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
Number
I'm glad
two,
you said that.
all of us have special gifts. Some of us know our gifts and some of us don't. Right? So a lot of times that we don't know that something is happening to us. And sometimes God is just bringing you closer to him. You know what I mean? I mean, I didn't understand it when I was younger, but I understand it now. But we definitely need to counsel and mentor so many people. And that's where I'm at. Mentoring and counseling people to understand really what it is to be a community person, really what it is to be a servant. A lot of people don't understand that. This will be 54 years of community service for leadership. I started at a very young age.
Wow.
And one of my first places in the community was Bed-Stuy Restoration Plaza.
Remember Bed-Stuy, do or die.
Do or die. And I came out of the community centers. There was 5 community centers. And I happened to work for the Albany Center. And then when they closed down all the centers, then I went to the main and I got into mortgage finance. See, what I'm saying is that I always say to people, learn as much as you can. Get all the training, certificates, even if you get an opportunity to go to school or whatever. I was looking at Facebook and they said, free tuition for lower school. I'm nearly pitched. I'm around your guys' age, right? But I'm saying to myself, do you really want to do law school? But if the opportunity is there for me and they can pay for my tuition, why not?
Yeah, well, it's actually, that's correct. It's where God has called you to.
Mm-hmm.
And as you listen to the Most High that's within you, it's his time, not your time.
That's it.
Right? So, yes, you can do it. And sometimes I even fall short and say, well, I don't know if I can do this, but God is saying, yes, you can. And sometimes there's a lot of, there's battles within us. And sometimes there's doubt within us. And that's why I was saying earlier that we can either play the victim or we can play the creator. And God said, he created us in his image. He created us, correct?
That's it.
Right? And I think in Psalms 82, verse 6, says that we're gods. So we are creators.
Yes. As I was mentioning to Miss Simone earlier before we went live, is that I tell everybody this: you must develop your own circle. Even if your own circle is only one person, you must develop that one circle. Okay? You have to. Okay? You already know that the opposition is so great. You could be doing something very focused and somebody can just come in there and try to mess it up.
I'm glad you said that. 2 things when you say create your own circle. This is actually creating your circle, but you're also creating your energy.
Right.
right? And also not allowing anybody to steal your energy. People steal your energy,
Yeah.
right? And so it's being mindful who you want to put yourself with, right? Because you're gonna be you're gonna be plus negative, plus negative. That's the energy, okay? And so you need that kind of energy with you as a young lady. You need that energy, and so you can feed off that person. They can feed off you. Right? So.
And also, you talked about teaching people how to be in a community,
Yes.
right? And I feel like to create that circle, you have to understand it.
Yes.
You know, do you in the communities with minorities, do you in certain places, right? Do you see do you struggle with that, right?
I don't struggle with that because I have did my searches and I've already checked out the different cultures. You know, there's different cultures that you have to understand. Like I have a very close relationship with the Jewish community. I have a very close relationship with the Indian community, the Chinese community, the Spanish community. But going into those, and I teach this, going into those cultures, you got to understand their beginnings and how their upbringings come about. And the same thing with us as Black Americans, Black people, they have to understand where we're coming from. You know what I mean? It's an education in each and every culture, right? And teaching with the chaplaincy, that's one of the things that we go into the cultures and the different nationalities and so forth, because that's very important. There was things that I did not know. There was things that I did not know, and I had to have a conversation with different cultures to understand. You know what I mean? And that's important. But when you go into a community, you must know what community that you're going into. You must educate yourself. If I go to Bay Ridge right now and I'm over there with the Muslim community, Arabic community, I know that community, I understand that community, and I have been invited several times to a lot of their things over the years. When I go into the Jewish community, they even ask me to speak to the Jewish children on community issues. Okay? A lot of people don't get that opportunity. You see?
So, you referring to community issues about their community, correct?
No, I was invited. I was invited as a guest just to speak as a public official to their children in the class. They wasn't complaining about anything, but yes, they do have complaints. They do come to the precinct with complaints, but so do other people as well. See, the problem that I have is that we as people must learn to stick closer.
Sir,
Okay?
I did it again.
You get elevated tomorrow. You're gonna have everybody say, "Oh, who he think he is?" Instead of coming to you and saying, "My brother, congratulate." See, and that's one thing that I've learned. Like you introduced me to the owner of this here. So my whole thing is to promote other Black women. I want to see this young lady go to the next level. I want her to remember that she met a Dr. Kim Best, just like I met a Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm was one of my mentors, right? I had an opportunity to meet with her. She sat down with me whenever she came to Brooklyn. Then she ran for president. Dr. English was another person. I had quite a few of them. So these were the women that motivated me. And they was my mentors. So my contribution to the community is to teach other women like yourself what I was taught. And that's why I admire Akeem Jeffries. He had the opportunity to go and work privately, but he chose to come into the community.
It's true.
He chose to come to the community. And now he's one of the most powerful men in Congress. So we got to remember that where our beginnings come from. And we got to remember that we need to teach other people. I will not always be the leader. Leadership is a very lonely place. We have to teach other young women and push them to the next level. You see this young man here? As a pastor, I've been working with him for years.
Can't get over there.
Okay? He's one of the best herbalists.
Can't reach it.
Okay? And he goes out and he heals people. When the pandemic came, he was out there. He was out there helping so many people. And this is what we need to come to understand. This is what we need to understand. It's not about, oh, Dr. Best trying to make a name for herself. No, this is real. Okay? I go places all the time, and God forgive me, I don't even want to go in the pulpit. But once they see me, here they go pulling me into the pulpit. I want to be there with the people. I want to be there with the vineyard. I want to be able to say to people, where can I help? That's my only focus right now. You understand? And that's how my legacy was built. My legacy was built because of my parents and the foundation that I was built on. People think that I'm Pentecostal. People think that I'm Baptist, but I'm actually Catholic. How about that? But I get called and to speak at all these different churches. Now, my father, Baptist, mother was Pentecostal. But we went to Catholic school, so we was raised with the Catholics. But today, we serve one God. We gotta understand, we serve one God. When the Muslims have their imams and stuff over there, they've asked me to come and speak there so many times, so many years, and I do. I might be one of the few people in the ministry that would pretty much go different places. You know, because at the end of the day, we serve one God.
Introduce Pastor. I think you already did, but now we're in
This
front of the
is
camera.
Pastor Sean McCullough. He's been with me for a number of years. And he was just elevated to pastor based on all of his work that he has committed himself to the community. Let him tell you a little bit about himself. I don't want to say everything.
I was basically raised up in the church from a very young age. Started probably 9 years old. My grandaunt, I have a little story. My grandaunt got me into the church. And my mother used to be in the nursing field, and she used to work at night. So my grandaunt, came with this idea, why don't you just bring, I want to bring him to church with me. Because she needed to get her sleep so she can go to work. And I was very mischievous, and I was just keeping her up at night. So, in the daytime. So she was working at night. So she brought me to church, and I met the pastor of the church, and he became like a father figure to me. And since then, every week she took me, and I eventually even learned the piano. Never knew how God was setting me up, since that time. And eventually I learned it, started with one finger, then two fingers, then both hands. And it was just God at work in my life. That's how he started. And then I became the organist for the church, the choir director, and I used to spend a lot of time with my grandfather. And when I see a lot of young ones on the corner smoking, drinking a 40, whatever, I was with my grandfather learning the word of God right beside him. And that's how I learned. And he taught me. He was a great teacher of the word. And I was right beside him, and he taught me. And one day he said, everything I taught you, when I'm dead, when I'm passed on, don't you ever forget everything that I've taught you. It's going to stay with you. It's going to lead you and guide you in the right direction. And everything he taught me, I never forgot. And even though I got into some situations growing up, I would always remember what my grandfather taught me. And I never got to a point where I couldn't turn back so far. And it was embedded into me so deep that I always remember, if I was tempted to do the wrong thing, I'd always remember what my grandfather told me, and it always kept me on the right track. So, and it was years passed by, it was prophesied to me that, you're a minister, you're going to be a pastor. And I remember this one lady prophesied to me, and she said, God's hand is on you in such a way that if anybody tried to do any type of harm to you, they would be in major trouble with God. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that for 1 second. And then when somebody tried to hurt me, and when I saw what God did to them, that's what made me a believer. That's when I knew God's hand was truly on me. And I just got prophesied and spoke, people spoke into my life. And as they say, the rest is history. And I was actually ordained as a minister years ago. The only difference between that time and this time now I have my papers, license and everything like that. But back then, the Holy Spirit, God just set me up. And God has told me, go to this church in the Bronx. I was going to this church where I was really dealing with the youth. I was going to Brooklyn Tabernacle. Remember Brooklyn Tabernacle? And yes, Pastor Jim Cymbala. But at the same time, I was going to another church. And the church that I was going to was in the Bronx. Pastor's name is Everton Sterling. And this church was 95% youth sensitive. So I would go over there in my spare time and just, minister to the youth. And the pastor, the head of the evangelist ministry from Brooklyn Tabernacle, I took him with me. And I used to work with him. And he used to set up a prayer station right in front of the courthouse on Borough Hall in Brooklyn. So every Thursday and Tuesday, we would set up a prayer station, and we had a prayer team, and people would come and ask for prayer and just tell us what we were going through, and we would pray for them. And let me tell you something. When I did that, God really blessed me in a lot of different ways. When you take care of God's business, is what that just taught me. When you take care of God's business, He'll take care of your business. So I just had a passion, to learn more about God, even other religions, and to just get closer to God and just to get to know His Word even more. And
that's all we can do.
Yeah.
We are vessels.
Yes.
And the vessel being,
Yeah.
that water,
Yeah.
that ocean. The Spirit
Absolutely.
of God is within us. And as we tap into the God that's within us, we can do all things. And I'm just so blessed that my first time meeting you.
Right.
And I thank you so much for your.
And it's funny how he came into my life. He came to my life through a friend. And as a chief apostle, I can do consecrations, I can do ordinations, I can do all that. And I saw his commitment. And I saw where God wanted him to be. He didn't see it at first. But I saw it. Because there are a few of us with the anointing.
Yeah.
I happen to be one.
And what I have learned, I'm gonna wrap this up now.
Uh-huh.
What I have learned that Christ that is the anointing.
Yeah.
Because that's the anointing.
Yeah.
You know, and Christ, Yeshua, walked on water, right? And he said in the word, Christ said in the word that we can do the same thing. We can walk on water because he walked on water. And he was telling us because he has an anointing. And as we walk in that anointing, we can do all things as well. But it's to tap into the God that's within us to start us believing, like believing. And that's the first step of faith, is believing. So I want to thank you all for coming on to Community Cuts. We are truly blessed that you're here, and I'm amazed with this conversation, and I thank everybody that's a part of this. Thank you so much for being here.
Now you know a little bit more about me now.
I know a lot about you. I've been watching you for the years,
Okay.
and as a matter of fact, I don't know if you know Marilyn's son, Walter
Yes,
Mosley.
Walter, yes.
He was, now he's Secretary of State, and they invited me up there to be a part of that ceremony. And but I've been knowing about you for a while, but now I'm getting to know more of you
Yes,
and the deep part, because I like deepness.
yes.
You know, I don't like the surface. Surface is okay, you know, but the deep part is where the roots are.
And then we'll be
Yeah. So I want to say thank you. Thank you, family, Community Cuts family that's out there. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for, come to the salon, 732 Washington Avenue between Prospect Place and Park Place. And join us here. Every Friday we're here. God bless you, family. We're out. Thank you. Thank you.
God bless.
That's it. In street.